Hey you guys, we're back with another video with the Acer Nitro 5, the AMD RX, I think it's a 550 version. We're back with a few more games. I know last time I went to test a few games, so this time I'm going to show a few more games. We've got Sea of Thieves, which we're going to boot up first. We're going to try out Forza Horizon 4, and then we're going to try out Fallout 76 if we can. So this is a laptop that I got recently. If you guys have seen the other video, it's basically a budget laptop. I got it for $550, I think it was. There is a GTX Nvidia version, but that will cost you an extra £300 to £500 more. And this one I've got 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM inside. And everything else is just the same as it would be from the factory. The only thing I've changed is, of course, the RAM. So Sea of Thieves is one game that I play quite a bit. I play it both on my PC and on my laptop. And to be honest, I enjoy it on both. The laptop obviously has to have lower settings, but it still runs really well. In fact, the latest update has improved it somewhat. And this video is not a technical video. It's not going to show you the 1% lows and 0.1% lows. It's basically just a video to show you what this thing can actually do without delving into the stupid specs or the deep frames and stuff, you know. Okay, what we're seeing right now is actually pretty low frames for some bizarre reason. And that will be why. If you look in here, you can see that we're on battery only and not actually on power. So we need to change that. So if we turn on power and we plug her in, we should see an improvement in frames per second. So we're actually plugged in now. The game may not sort itself out. So this is what happens if you don't have it plugged in. The game decides to crap out on me. You have to have it plugged in to be able to get any sort of decent frames. Otherwise it just can't cope. It just doesn't cope well at all. It basically underclocks everything to the point where you can't... It's not really a gaming laptop unless it's plugged in. However, we will skip past this long loading screen and get straight into some gameplay in a moment. In fact, do you know what? No, we'll leave it. We'll let you see how long it takes to load Sea of Thieves. And we'll see if it actually automatically switches now that we've plugged it in, because I've not tried that before. If it doesn't, then it involves having to exit the game and re-enter the game. But this is a game that is playable currently. I have got most of the settings on rare. I did have them on ultra at one point and I was still getting 30 FPS, which is obviously playable. But I prefer to have Sea of Thieves a bit higher than that, because the areas in which it dips, like going towards an island or even battling someone out on the seas, those are the areas that you need the frames the most. And as it dips so bad for some reason, even on my PC upstairs, the dips are just incredible. It's best to have the FPS higher with graphics lower, because those dips are going to be potentially life-threatening in this game. There's been times where I've had it on like ultra max settings. I've been playing, I've been attacked, and because I've actually had everything on ultra max settings, the frame rate just dips below as soon as I go to fire my weapon or attack with my sword, and that's cost me my life a fair few times. So I've changed the settings a bit. Hopefully it will actually load pretty quickly, but sometimes this game takes a while. Do you know what, we'll skip, screw it. So we're in, as you can see right now we're getting low FPS. I'll show you what I have it on. It has had an update, and every time it has an update it seems to get worse. So I've got it on rare, which is medium, and I've got the water detail set to legendary, and as you can see I'm getting about 35 FPS. Now my PC upstairs, I can get way more than this. I get a constant, in fact I can get over 60 FPS on my PC, but I have the VSync on, so it locks it to 50 because of my TV, but it stays constant. But this is pretty typical of Sea of Thieves. So in the cities it is much lower, but as soon as you get on your boat and you go out into the ocean, you can see those frame dips. It doesn't actually happen when you're out on the ocean, just so you guys know. And this is actually a little worse today. I haven't played on my laptop since the update, so I haven't seen what it has affected, but clearly it has affected some of the frame rate. Now of course Sea of Thieves isn't the most detailed game. In a sense it's quite a cartoony art style, but it still looks good, even on medium settings. And the reason I'm recording this as well, rather than going through fraps, is purely and simply because obviously those FPS you see on top of the screen would differ, but you can see I'm getting about 40 FPS. And sometimes that does go up when you're sailing, but as I've got if I change the wave settings down to rare as well, you can see it doesn't really affect me much at all. In fact, I've dropped down to 34 FPS now for some reason. Yeah, so, oh wow, this game's took a massive hit. But I can also do other things, which I can change the resolution, which always makes a difference, and I can turn VSync off, which makes a marginal difference. But if you want the game to look half decent, you're going to want it on these settings. And it is completely playable. And I quite enjoy it like this, if I'm honest. It's nice when I'm sat in bed and I can't bother to switch my TV on. You can see that it plays quite nicely. This is definitely playable. The waves look good, the game looks pretty good. Granted, if I buttoned up the resolution it would look a little sleeker, but then you're losing frames. You can see I'm at 41, 44 now. So do you need, and this is where it drops as well, when you get close to things it does dip. So you don't need that GTX 1060 version, you don't need an extra £300 to be able to play this game, and you don't need to pay an extra £300 to play this game looking half decent. As you can see, this game does look pretty good. And if we up the sails, see we're getting 42 FPS now. If we up the sails, and if we change a couple of settings here, so let's say we wanted to change the resolution, I'll show you how much it dips. Because it says that's the recommended because of the amount of RAM. See, it dips not so much, but in fact actually for some reason today it's not dipping that much at all. Which is odd, because usually it dips a whole lot. Oh well, we can play at these settings as well. But yeah, so good. So far so good, right? So let's come out of this game and we'll check out a different game. So I say we check out the Fallout beta next. Fallout 76, so this is a game that's coming out next week. The beta currently runs like crap on my PS4 upstairs. I've not tried it on my PC because I only just got it the beta on PC today, so I installed it on my laptop purely and simply because this thing has the 5 GHz Wi-Fi and my PC doesn't, it just has 2.4. So I've not seen it do this before. We're currently in a windowed mode, which is weird. But we'll see what it plays. I did try playing this with the power out and it played terrible. Let's see if we can change that display settings. We want it on 1080. Yeah. Quit to desktop. Let's restart and see if we can get that screen out of the corner. We may have changed the wrong settings, but we'll see. We'll see. Nope, we're sorted. So yeah, we'll check this out, see if this works. Again, this is a 2018 title, so this laptop is running quite old hardware. I think it's got an FX 6300, I think, maybe a little better than that processor wise, but it does have the RX550 in there. So we can play the game. Everything's set to low right now because that's what it was when I played it without the battery, without the power plugged in. And believe me, the game's unplayable. The frame rate is probably in the 20s, low 20s. We're playing this on PS4 and the frame rate's not great there either. It seems to be one of those really badly optimized Bethesda games. But we'll see what it runs like on the laptop. Hopefully it'll run half decent. I might be able to turn up some settings now that I've got the power plugged in. I'm using a controller, by the way, if you guys are wondering why I'm not touching the keyboard. Just because I prefer using a controller. I actually play most of my PC games with a controller. If not all of them, apart from obviously RTSs, which you have to play with a mouse, but yeah. God, this one takes a long time to load as well. Dual loading screen? Oh, great. So we'll see. Oh, it's not looking good still. It's actually a bit smoother. It's a shame that we can't see what the FPS is in here, which is a bit disappointing. Water quality, object fade, HUD, show active effect. It's annoying when they don't put this in there so you can actually see the FPS. Oh, this is where you change pacifist mode. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, so we can't actually see the FPS, but we can gauge it roughly. So we're playing on low settings right now, and I wouldn't say this is 30. I'd say this is below 30. We'll equip that though. And see what it's like when we've got some... yeah, I'd say we're below 30 right now. We are running at 1080p, I believe, rather than 720, but we could, if we turn the resolution down, I'm sure that would make a difference. If we change some settings though, we'll see what happens. Because remember, we've still got that graphics card and it's still got 4 gigs of VRAM, so it still has some... so we could change the texture quality. Oh, that sucks. We'll keep the lighting quality and the shadow quality and the shadow distance low, but we could change those like that. Yeah, this is even worse on the laptop. That's annoying. Let's quit out. Let's just restart the game. If I can remember how to restart. Because for some reason you need to restart. Ugh. So we'll quit to desktop. We'll reboot with the medium settings on the textures and stuff. And we'll see if it makes much of a difference in the way of frame rate. And then we'll play Forza Horizon 4, which I know works well. It's actually quite surprising because I couldn't get Forza Horizon 3 working on here. It just doesn't have the processor for some reason for Forza Horizon 3. Yet Forza Horizon 4 is pretty damn optimized. Alright, let's see if we get much of a difference. I've actually been enjoying the beta. If anyone's interested in what I have to say about it, it's not bad. There's a lot of things missing, but much like Sea of Thieves and indeed No Man's Sky, I think Fallout 76 can be improved in many ways. There are plenty of things that Bethesda can do after release, which isn't to say that's a good thing because the player base will certainly drop, much like No Man's Sky. I think there's going to be a massive amount of backlash with this game. Simply because it's frustratingly bad. And yet some of it's okay. The good things in Fallout 76 don't outweigh the bad things. But actually, I'll be honest with you, this hasn't made a massive amount of difference. And the sound is buggy as hell in this beta for some reason. I'd say it's playable, but I wouldn't want to play it like this. And if you drop the resolution, it makes the screen go small, which is odd. If it didn't do that, and I could actually have a full screen with 720p like most other games, then I'd be inclined to try it out. But you can see that while it is working, and I'm sure once the AMD gets a update to make this game more compatible, it will be slightly better. But currently, yeah, it's struggling a little to keep up with this game. Still looks great though, and it still runs, which is pretty surprising. So you could, I reckon, if you drop the resolution to 720p, try it with these settings, medium settings, 720p, you'd gain a few FPS. I think this would be playable. I'm not sure, obviously, in the built-up areas, but it certainly looks like it could be playable if you did those settings. I thought we'd check it out whilst the beta's live, see what the game runs like on this. Because some of you might be wanting to buy this laptop still, and still be wondering whether you can play current games on it. Yes, you can, but some games will still be a bit of a pain to play.